Ahoy and welcome back once again to the channel. San Martin have sent me their latest release, and it is a dive watch version of one of their sort of original-ish designs, SN0129 look. And they have sent me a very interesting looking white version with orange accents, I believe. We're about to find out. Yep, there it is. Yeah, I like this watch. There's no doubting the SN0144 was the big new release by San Martin in 2024, but they have released a lot of very popular sort of original-ish design watches. But the SN0129 has a sort of Grand Seiko inspired case, and so yeah, that really tickles me in, a nice place. So this one I'm gonna like. I'm absolutely sure of it. Right, let me get the plastic off, resize it, do all that sort of stuff. I'll be back in a mo. Right, there we go. I've removed all the plastic, put some power into the NH35, resized it, moved the hands, and now we can have a proper good look at this watch. The most important things to note, I think, on this watch early on, enamel dial, which is nice. Enamel dials, not as expensive and as premium as porcelain dials, but a step up from your sort of standard dials. They have a little bit of a sheen, a bit of reflection to them. So a little bit more premium than your standard dials. It looks to be a sapphire crystal bezel insert. The bracelet has very nicely polished rounded corners, a little bit in keeping with Grand Seiko. The case, hints of Evolution 9, aren't there, with this case. The bezel action, very light, surprisingly light actually. The clicks are nice and crisp, and I think the alignment's pretty good. But yeah, that is really quite a light bezel action. That's not like them, is it? Also in the listing it says new on the fly adjustment system. Well, I don't know what's new about this, because I'm pretty sure they were using a similar system to this a while ago, before they started using recently that system with the button, that sort of just pushes in and then you press the button and pull it out. So maybe they've made a new version of this particular style of on the fly adjustment system. But yeah, in terms of how it works, that's not that original or new, is it? Maybe they're referring, well, they can't be referring to the outer shell. That definitely looks to have been improved when compared to recent watches. A sort of double step there, and the logo seems to be sort of countersunk into the outer shell. There's no denying, beautiful clasp though, quite long. It's a dive watch, so it sort of carries that slightly larger than average clasp, doesn't it? The bracelet does feel really nice. End link fit. Yeah, very nice as well. Finishing, of course, I'm going to take some macro shots and show you the finishing. No doubt it's amazing. BGW9. So I'll show you some lume as well. I think this is a fully lumed bezel. There's 4 different colours. The lume is slightly different, I think, on all of them. This was the one that appealed to me the most. I would have preferred a black bezel, I think. White dials, black bezels. But then there's a splash of colour on this with that orange chaptering, isn't there? So yeah, not sure, maybe black would have worked with that splash of colour. Oh, case back. The shark is back. The shark! We haven't seen the shark for years. I thought we'd lost the shark forever. Wow. Wow, how have I not noticed that until just now? Well, there you go. The shark is back. The San Martin Water Ghost shark. That's pretty cool. Yeah, beautiful applied indices and hands. Let's cover some of the less new stuff, I guess. Printed logo on the dial. That's pretty cool. Maybe they didn't want to put an applied logo on this enamel dial, but then they've put applied markers all over it, haven't they, and a frame on that date window, which is nice. Sapphire crystal, double domed sapphire crystal, sits a little bit higher than that bezel. I'll test the crystals in a minute. 200 meters of water resistance. Screw down case back, screw down crown. Crown action is nice. A few specifications on the case back. A mix of finishing all over this watch. Yeah, the bracelet has brushing and polishing on it, as does the clasp and the case back. Yeah, pretty much everything has a mix of finishing on it. So a sort of premium San Martin watch. The list price is around $260 I think at the moment, 265. I checked out with a coupon that they've added for the launch of this watch, and I've been offered this watch for $235, which I don't think is bad at all. In fact, I think that's very good value for money when you list all the specifications: the enamel dial, 2 pieces of sapphire crystal, yeah, premium bracelet and clasp, premium finishing, NH35. Okay, that's fairly standard for a watch in this price bracket from San Martin. I know some people will think that's a lot of money for an NH35 powered watch, but they are great movements, reliable, 21,600 beats per hour, hack hand wind, male end links. Yeah, that works with this watch. I do prefer the look of male end links, although female end links, obviously you get slightly better articulation, don't you? Yeah, it's a nice looking watch. I'm not overly convinced by the colours that they've opted for. They're a bit unusual. I would love to see some more traditional colours available. They will undoubtedly expand this range, so if the 4 watches currently available aren't really your thing, but you like this style of watch, don't jump into it, because almost certainly they will be adding to this range. Yeah, the lugs have a nice little, almost a twist to them. Brushing on top, polishing on both sides, and then brushing on the side of the case. Look, screw pins were nice. Yeah, screw pins, solid end links, solid links. Screw pins, milled clasp. It's what I think we have come to expect from San Martin, isn't it? But a few premium touches to it. Right, let's just quickly give you some measurements or dimensions. 39.4 millimeters in diameter. That is the bezel. Thickness is an ant's left buttock over 14 millimeters. Yeah, it's chunkier than I was expecting. Lug to lug, 46.3, and the length, including the end links, 52 millimeters. 20 mil lugs and plenty of taper. Bracelet tapers down to, yeah, just under 16 mil. Right, I've set it up for my roughly average sized wrist, and it now weighs 144 grams. Right, let's test the crystals. Yep, sapphire crystal for sure. Now let's do the bezel insert. I have to focus on this one because it's quite slender, isn't it? Yeah, we've got sapphire crystal in the bezel as well. I prefer ceramic, but yeah, it suits the watch, doesn't it, because of that slightly glossy enamel dial. Right, here it is then on my roughly average sized wrist. It definitely sits a little bit higher on my wrist than I was anticipating. Yeah, the balance is good though, because there's still a decent amount of weight in the clasp, given there's an on-the-fly adjustment system in there, and also it's got milled inner elements. In terms of its size, proportions, yeah, I like it. I think the end link's a touch long, perhaps. That center link on the end link, look, does, yeah, seem to extend quite a bit, although it does curve down, so I'm not having any issues with it sort of wrapping around the top of my wrist. I love the bracelet, really nice bracelet this. 3 links with those sort of super refined, finished, polished corners and sides. Yeah, it's an impressive piece, no doubt about it. $235 US. Certainly some premium touches to this watch. Would I have it over the standard SN0129? I do love dive watches. They are my favourite style of watch. But there's just still something about that original SN0129 with the steel brushed bezel that, gives me movement.